Good morning, everyone. My name is Ned Palacios, and my teammates are James Mercasio and Joseph Cornelius, and we are from the University of the Immaculate Conception from Davao City, Philippines. We're going to be presenting our paper titled Ergo Engine: A Contextualized Programming Error Translation and Programming Error Analysis Translation Engine. Programming is a high-level cognitive task. It takes a lot of focus to process information, but also time. So if you're trying to learn programming, be ready to do intense analysis of making your program work, which is a challenge for novice programmers. There's another area in which new programmers also have difficulties in solving programming errors. So to overcome this problem, one must know how to do debugging. So how do we define debugging? So debugging is the process of finding and solving errors in software. So there are two parts of in this process. So first is the finding and the resolving. So finding is what we call fault localization. Fault localization is all about identifying where the error is and resolving. So when we identify the error, how do we fix it? So we need to know how to fix the said fault or error. In relation to this debugging, so we can relate this one to the repair theory by Brown and Van Lent. So in the repair theory, individuals acquire procedural skills by attempting to solve problems. So when we learn something, it's not automatically that we can solve already those whatever obstacles that we are trying to encounter. But instead, we are encountering so-called impasse. So impasse is something that occurs when it's not fixed. So it's either you try to solve it, or when you solve it again, you try to have a new impasse again. You learn, and you'll be able to solve the said problem. However, there are some difficulties for novices when it comes to debugging. So first is the constant learning of new strategies. So as new programmers or people who learn programming, we don't know where to start, right? So, and we try to experiment different strategies in order for us to solve the said problems. So, and next is proficiency in interpreting information. So, if we learn something like a new programming language, it's like we don't know where do we start. We don't know what variables we're trying to encounter, and etc. And most importantly, error messages are cryptic in nature. So when we compile something, we see something that we don't understand. Yeah, and there's this one thing called fragile knowledge. So fragile knowledge is proficiency in comprehending the information may affect in deciphering the error messages that will be presented to them. So yeah. So in order to verify this, now we have this evaluation study that we take a survey to the students from our College of Computer Studies. So we presented 3 kinds of Java programming errors, and 70 respondents, 59 of them are novices. So we found out that in our survey, 16 or 27% only was able to fix 3 errors, while 20.3% were able to solve 12. And the rest, it's a mixture of those, what we found in the survey. There are also existing studies as well, ranging from simple programs created for the military, and until recently with the use of ChatGPT. However, there are gaps in the existing studies that we have found. So first is the hard-coded templates or rules in which there are only a limited set of programming errors that they're trying to support, and it's not flexible enough for others to add new types of errors. Second is the limitations in supported programming error types, which is mostly compile time errors but not runtime errors. Third is especially in LLMs that type, which is low accuracy due to lack of contextual data. So still in mainstream LLMs, we cannot still put the full information of the code base, so that in order for the LLMs to understand and to solve what error are we trying to solve. And lastly, one thing that we found out is that it lacks learning theories that we can back up in order for us to know if the information that we are trying to give is effective. Thus, we would like to create a contextualized error programming error analysis translation engine that supports common types of programming errors, program analysis, and language tooling, and applying the relevant learning theories. So, which is Ergo Engine. So here's how it works. So what we have here is a user program. So it can be compiled or interpreted, and then when we compile something or when we try to run a program, if we encounter errors, we send them to the Ergo Engine, in which there are two stages of it. First is the error analysis and the error translation. So in the error analysis, the error message will be sent to the first stage, and it will check for any error templates that we call, in which, in order to be able to identify and to be able to solve the said programming error based on the error message. And then we extract those little details that we can see in the programming error, and then we pass it to the semantic analysis, which the engine will parse the files involved in the said error message. So all of the data that is collected from the error analysis will be sent to the error translation, in which the information will be used to generate explanation and to generate bug fix explanations. And then, in order for us to be more easier to understand, we format this one into the Markdown format. And then we return the output, and then we give that one back to the user. So, as mentioned earlier, what is the context data all about? So this is a crucial information for us. This for use in error translation and portions of the error analysis. So it provides guidance and personalization of the output, and it allows us to be able to see more of what the error is all about, not just on the surface. So all the extracted variables from the error message, stack trace locations, data from semantic analysis, files, ASDs, and symbols table. So we also would like to mention that our approach is language agnostic. So what do we mean when we say language agnostic? So we utilize two things. First is the parsers generated from parser generators, because it provides common structures like ANTLR and YAK. So but in this case, we use three-seater parser, and then we use programming language configuration files. And in order for us to use this one, we have this application called BugBuddy. So this is an extension in which extension and an application that lets you use Ergo-Engine into your favorite text editors using the language server protocol. So this is how it works. There's a user program, executor, the server, and then the information passed from Ergo-Engine will be passed to the server and the IDE. So we'll proceed to the evaluation. So how do we identify the test programs in Artemis development? How do we create the contextualization mechanism and the real-world use? So for the test programs, so we decided to use Java because this is the language we use for our programming subjects. And then we just added Python for us to test the language agnostic capabilities. So, and then once we identify the programs, we then limited it to compile time and runtime. And then later on, we were able to gather 50 programming errors, 44 for Java and 6 for Python. Again, this is just to test the language agnostic capabilities. And then we further filter it through chat by creating test programs through ChatGPT, and we verify it through a language interpreter. So we were able to reduce it to 42 programming errors since some messages were merged into one error. So this is the error template design. We have a name, pattern, update, position, explain, bug fix, and a custom stack trace pattern. And then this is also our translated output design, in which you have the name of the error, the explanation, and then the list of bug fix suggestions. And then this is how it looks, although it's different, but this is how it looks when it is rendered in the editor. And then in order for us to know if our if what we did works, so we did unit testing, and then each programming error was given one test case. So here are the results. It's not totally perfect, but we were able to implement most of them, especially in Java. However, due to a lack of implementation in some portions of our analysis, there were some that were skipped for this one. So for us to implement our contextual design, so again, we have these components. So we extract the context data, we extract the stack trace, and etc. And the problem here is earlier when we see it has a very low test cases and very low code coverage. That's because we had difficulties implementing it for two different types of ASTs. So we had to handle them each per language. And we also later added some positions. So position update, error position tracking, because it further improves our analysis for this. So it also simplifies our development. So for the real world use, we also unit tested our explanation generator, and then we also had very high test cases, so we had a test coverage that's high as well. And then we also are able to prove that our implementation has worked through our test cases that we have implemented. But however, there is a problem when it comes to handling multiple errors. So we cannot yet track two errors in one input. So because of how our implementation works at the moment. But this is something that we're trying to work on in the future. And also, we had an initial usability test. So we just tested it for 3 students, one in outside and then 2 in within the university. And then we found out that our application, at the same time, our engine, we were able to capture errors perfectly. So But however, this is something that's not totally valid because this is something that we're gonna be proving in the near future through our performance test. So in conclusion, although there are some problems in our implementation, however, we were able to implement and our process in analyzing programming errors through ERRCLIP. So that's all.
Thank you, Ned. So I'll open the floor for questions from the audience. Anybody have questions?
And I like the business and physics.
Yes, ma'am.
Actually, I like it from the stage or what stage of the thesis are you in?
Actually, we're supposed to by the time we submit this paper, we're supposed to submit. We're supposed to submit, but to finish testing our performance test.
Okay, so you're on the testing stage.
Yes.
Actually, I appreciate the effort in getting the stack trace, getting a single table. I would imagine it's not simple.
Yeah.
As you were presenting, what was going on my mind is, this is something that can be a use case or a study in a compiler class. So it's nice. I like it. When you test, this is more of a comment. When you do the user acceptance test, maybe you could put it side by side against the Java compiler, Java itself, and then you ask which ones do you prefer. Okay. Just to highlight how good the translator is. But why are you calling it error translator? Can you really translate it?
Yeah, because we call it an error translator because we translate the error messages into something that can be digestible for novice programmers, since that's the target users that we're trying to for use in this one. So we wanted to make it easier for them before they are able to understand.
How did you use Yak in your research? And could you have used Bison instead?
As for that question, we did not use Yak, although it's just an example for this. We used TreeSitter for our parsing. However, in the near future, if we are able to improve it more, we can use Bison or any parser generator for this one.
I have a question. So for your final, the usability testing, if I may ask, what is the challenge in getting recruits? You said you had only 3 students. It seems like there's so many students trying to learn programming.
Yeah, the difficulty for us when it comes to the usability test was the time, at the same time their interest, since they're bombarded with lots of other activities. So it's not easy for us to just pick a student and then just let them try our software.
Sir, just as an addition to that, yes, I'm also interested. I have been wanting, because as a programming teacher, you experience this, and especially in C, you get errors like L value required, and then for first year students, what is an L value, right? And then you have to explain addresses, etc. So I have advised students before, and I don't know if you are aware of this system. It's a startup, CodeChamp. It's a coding platform, So I think that if this is a plugin, we can plug it into CodeChamp. CodeChamp is a programming platform, and then basically, if you can plug it in, then you have thousands of users over the Philippines. I don't know. Maybe you can do a usability test, and it's gonna be a Philippines-wide. I can introduce you to the founder of CodeChamp if you like.
Yes, we have code in GitHub. It's open source.
Let's thank Ned for the wonderful talk. In the interest of time, we'll now move on to the next.